The King Who Cursed the Future, a story of elite betrayal. What if I told you that a single pot shattered 200 years ago is the reason a nation still bleeds today? In the heart of West Africa, a king stood on the edge of a palace terrace not to greet his people, but to sentence their children to centuries of chaos. This is not just a myth, it is the ancestral wrath, the true story of how the betrayal of the political elite triggered a curse that crossed the Atlantic Ocean. Chapter 1: The Empty Calabash. In 1796, the Oyo Empire was the superpower of the savannah, but inside the palace of Oyo Ile, the air was thick with the scent of treason. The Oyo Mesi, the elite council of chiefs, had grown tired of the king, Alafin Aole. They sent him a gift that was actually a death warrant, an empty calabash. In their culture, this was a ritual demand for the king to commit suicide. But Aole was not a king who went quietly into the night. He knew his general, Afonya, had already turned against him to carve out his own kingdom in the city of Ilorin. The elite had chosen their personal ambition over the sanctity of the crown. As the proverb says, the mouth which eats does not talk, and these chiefs had eaten the wealth of the empire until they were full enough to bite the hand that fed them. Chapter 2: The Ritual of the Three Arrows. Aole looked at the empty calabash and laughed. He walked to the highest point of the palace. He didn't take the poison. Instead, he took the ancient totems of his ancestors. He shot one arrow to the north, one to the south, and one to the west. As the arrows hissed through the air, he screamed a curse that still makes elders tremble. "My curse be on ye for your disloyalty. Let your children disobey you as you have disobeyed me. To all the points I shot my arrows will ye be carried as slaves. Slaves will rule over you, and you, their master, will become slaves." To seal the doom of his people, Aole slashed a ceramic pot into 1,000 pieces. He declared that just as those shards could never be joined again, the nation would never find unity. Then he took his own life. The broken pot became the blueprint for the collapse that followed. Chapter 3: The Betrayer's Mirage. Afonya, the general, thought he was the winner. He had defeated the king. He had his own city. To keep his power, he made a deal with the human animals of his day, mercenary soldiers known as the Jamas. He believed he could control them. He thought he could use them to build a new empire. But Afonya forgot the oldest rule of the savannah. He who digs a grave for his enemy might as well be digging one for himself. The mercenaries weren't his friends. They were the physical manifestation of Aole's curse. Slowly, the very people Afonya hired to protect him began to take over his streets, his markets, and his palace. Chapter 4: The Shocking End. The end was not a glorious battle. It was a heart-reaching execution. Afonya's own soldiers turned their bows on him. Legend says that so many arrows hit him at once that his body didn't even fall. He remained standing, a human pincushion, propped up by the very weapons of his betrayal. The general who traded his nation for a crown died as a slave to his own mercenaries. The Oyo Empire fell, and just as Aole predicted, millions were carried across the sea in chains. Today, when we see political leaders selling their people's future for ghost guns or personal wealth, the elders whisper about the Aole curse. They say, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. The question for you is the curse still active, or are we just repeating the same betrayals? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to see how the spirit of a betrayed leader like Thomas Sankara rose again decades later, click the video on your screen right now.